I finally started Dr. Stone, and I haven't been this excited after a first season of anime in a really long time. Dr. Stone kind of got me hyped for new modern anime again, which is super surprising. Alright, so I have known about Dr. Stone for some time. I had heard the hype of it when it was initially coming out, and I knew it was going to be good to some extent, but I just never really tried it, honestly. But about a year ago, I started Dr. Stone and maybe got 3 episodes in and was honestly actually really surprised at just how good it was so early on. Then I proceeded to completely ignore Dr. Stone for a long time and not pick it back up until literally this week. And I binged the entire first season in about 3 days. I haven't ran through an anime this fast since I started One Piece, honestly. So let's see why this show made me so hyped and what's the reason why I dropped it in the first place, just to, end up picking it back up all over again. But before we get into it, if you guys could go ahead and like and subscribe, that would be dope. It means a lot to me. Now, firstly, the reason I dropped the show wasn't because it was bad, not at all. Far from that, actually. You ever start something that's just so good and it's just kind of so good at a certain level that you just don't want to rush through it, because you know that you can't give whatever that is the proper attention it deserves. So you kind of got to save it for later, so that way when you're good and ready to give it the attention it deserves, you can, right? That's how I felt here with Dr. Stone. I could tell it was going to be super, super good. I just knew I couldn't give it the attention to fully watch it and grasp it for what it was at that time. So instead of going through a show and potentially not liking it or just kind of being dumb and not paying attention, I decided to just wait and focus on other stuff that I was already watching at the time, finish that up, and then move to Dr. Stone when I eventually got the chance. And now Dr. Stone is deep into its 3rd season, and I kind of just felt the itch to watch some more modern, anime, especially after doing my Blue Lock video and my Hero Season 6 videos. Go ahead and watch those if you haven't already. I love Blue Lock, and My Hero Season 6 is the best My Hero season by far. So check those videos out if you haven't already. But after finally finishing Season 1, what are my thoughts on Dr. Stone? Well, honestly, this show is everything I needed from modern anime right now. See, right now we're at a point in where modern anime, where at least most of what's coming out actually right now, isn't super unique. But I just feel like there really hasn't been anything that grabbed me in such a way like Dr. Stone did, in the way that it's just such a unique concept, really, at least, as far as I haven't seen a lot of shows that are like this. This show completely does an Uno reverse card on all shonen tropes, honestly. It gives us a hilariously weak MC being Senku, who is so weak that he literally can't do anything physical at all, really. So instead, he uses his intellect and the power of science to outsmart his enemies. He's basically the embodiment of that whole argument, Superman versus Batman with prep time. Senku takes Batman with prep time to a whole nother level, and that's just kind of who he is as a character. And you mix in this crazy story where Dr. Stone is set in a world where humanity has been petrified for thousands of years, so everyone's locked away in these stone things, and our MC Senku wakes up after 3,000 years and discovers a world where civilization has basically crumbled completely, and the survivors are left to rebuild society and civilization in a super primitive lifestyle, like on some caveman stuff. And Senku's goal is to use his scientific knowledge to just rebuild civilization, like I said, and bring back humanity to the technological state they were at before when everything happened. And along the way, he faces tons of challenges with different enemies and concepts and ideas and so many cool things. But I just can't explain how genuinely fun it is getting a weak MC. Like, it's so, I guess maybe you probably get weaker MCs in like romance and slice of life and stuff like that. But in shonen, typically, if our MC is weak, he grinds and grinds and then gets more and more powerful as the show goes on. After season 1, Senku's still just as weak as he was in the first episode as he is in the finale of season 1, He's not much stronger. It's not really him that's getting upgraded or changing in the show at all. And it's good because I'm so tired of the typical shonen tropes of training arcs in anime. I feel like every shonen has a training arc at some point in it, which is fine, but it just gets kind of frustrating and annoying, especially if it's not super done well. But Dr. Stone throws that all out the window and gives us an MC who is already a super genius and puts them in a world where they have no tools, no money, and it's purely up to them on how they bring the world back. So in a way, the entire show is kind of like a training arc, because he's already going to be a super genius in episode 1. He's not going to necessarily get smarter as the show goes on. Obviously, he's not going to get that much smarter from episode 1 because there's no books for him to learn from or anything like that. So how smart he is in episode 1 is exactly how smart he is, most likely going to be in season 2, right? It's more about him and civilization doing this huge training arc for the entire show to build up and get stronger and stronger, slowly, right? And that's great because we never have to have Senku in his own training arc, studying or trying to beat kids in a science fair or anything stupid like that. He's already insanely smart. So figuratively, our MC pretty much has all his powers already. then you have the whole mystery of how did everyone get petrified. That's something they haven't really touched on yet in season 1, and I'm hoping we get that maybe in season 2 or 3. But there's been so much just, internal conflict with the current group of survivors that we haven't really figured out what caused everyone to get petrified in the first place. That's going to be super exciting, so I'm hyped for when that does eventually happen. And on top of that, the show is so funny. There's so many moments where I'm just laughing. Like, this show is surprisingly hilarious for the concept that it is. And the animation is also, in my opinion, really well done. I think the fact that this show doesn't have a lot of action scenes, like it's not really fight scene oriented as a typical shonen might be. It's a lot more focused on showing the characters learning new things or building things and that sort of thing. So it doesn't have the same level of maybe scale that a lot of shonens do have. But I think it makes up for it in the fact that it shows these, scientific breakthroughs that our characters are having really well, and it explains it super easy. Like, even someone like me who's not really into science or the periodic table or anything like that, I'm able to follow along with Senku when he's doing his insane ramblings about creating cell phone towers and shit, right? It's just awesome. I love the fact that this show is approachable for someone like me who's not super into science, so that means that there's really no reason to not watch the show. Whether you're a shonen fan, a fan of other genres too, I think Dr. Stone kind of transcends shonen a little bit. It's not violent really at all, but it still does a little bit just slightly different to where I think it could branch off and really get a whole new audience that probably wasn't into it in the first place. And also, just on top of that, all the characters are actually surprisingly good. I don't know why when I first started the show, I was just not excited for the characters really. Like, other than Senku, I was really just kind of blah. Like, I really didn't think I was going to have a good time with the characters. And I was completely wrong. A majority of the characters in the show I love. Thoroughly am a fan of some of these characters. I'm not going to talk about any specific ones. There's one character in, specifically that if you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about, who's kind of frustrating because their whole character role is to be like, are they a double agent, a triple agent, whose side are they really taking? There's a character like that in the show, and I typically hate that. I hate when characters are just like not picking a side, but even that character I grew to like over time, just because there's so much just like, not to say necessarily character development that happens in the show, but there's just so much conversation that happens, and I guess because there's not as much fight scenes, there's more stuff for our characters to talk about and communicate with, that you just tend to learn a lot about these characters a lot quicker than you maybe normally would. I don't know, that could be me just totally talking out of my butt with that one, but overall, I really like Dr. Stone. I think this might be one of the most underrated anime that's out right now. It's currently in season 3, like I said, so it's still going. I'm not sure if it has a planned, end date or end season number or anything like that. But man, I'm just having such a good time with this show. It really kind of hyped me up for modern anime all over again. I think after Chainsaw Man came out and I was kind of lukewarm on it, like it wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing. I think I was just kind of meh. And then Blue Lock kind of rejuvenated that a little bit, got me hyped for that, but also just kind of got me hyped for sports anime in general. And then My Hero season 6 got me, super hyped for My Hero because I was kind of down on that series for a long time. And then now getting into Dr. Stone, this is such a good time to watch anime and to watch new shows coming out. So I'm really excited. I'm super hyped for more Dr. Stone. I'm actually watching season 2 right now as I record this. So there might be a season 2 review very soon. And appreciate you guys watching the video. It really does mean the world to me. If you could go ahead and subscribe and like, that'd be awesome. You can click here to watch whatever video is going to be over here, and click over here to watch whatever video is going to be over there. And also, Dr. Stone has one of the most banger intro music songs ever. Just want to put that out there. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.